and welcome in to another edition of our series to watch. We got 12 great picks for you. We're nearing the end of the regular season. We're excited. We can't wait to attack all of it and get started with our 12 series to watch because this is Division II baseball. We love it. We love covering it at such a high level for you, and it'll be posted on DIVII Baseball on Twitter as well to be able to see that. So without further ado, we're going to get into our 12 series to watch. And, well, Will, you can take the floor on the first series to watch, and then we'll go back and forth and discuss, some players to highlight and things like that because we're excited for it.
Yeah, Robert, I must say, I love the energy that you're bringing here today. And I'm going to try to replicate that as well. I appreciate that. And when you can talk about appreciating people and appreciating teams, I think the fans, you guys are certainly going to appreciate the series to watch upcoming this weekend. And starting off, we've got a series out of the Midwest region in the Great Lakes Valley Conference. It's Rockhurst, who's 20-12, and Maryville, who's 25-8. Maryville at 18-2. They're atop the Great Lakes Valley Conference. However, Rockhurst has been surging, and it makes it to be a big matchup here. A 4-game slate scheduled at Maryville at Weber Baseball Field in St. Louis, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And Maryville, who's ranked 22nd by us, 15th in another poll, hosting Rockhurst, who a team that is tied for 4th in the league with UMSL right now. Maryville, they played UMSL a few weeks back and swept them at home, but they enter the toughest portion of their GLVC schedule right now, which makes this series so intriguing to me because after this weekend, Maryville will play at UIndy, who's in second, and at Drury, who's in third. So the next 2 weekends, it's crucial for them, but they can't look ahead of a Rockhurst team who has been hot as of late. They've won 7 consecutive games. And for a Maryville team holding on to a 2-game lead within the conference, and for Rockhurst having back-to-back series wins, including a series win over a UIndy team on the road, it shows you that this Rockhurst Hawks offense is definitely a team to be reckoned with. Both teams coming off sweeps. Rockhurst, they hit 337 as a team. That's 12th best in the country. And they also lead the league with 88 stolen bases. While Maryville, they have a 5.30 ERA, which overall in the year leads the league. However, they've launched 57 home runs in 33 games, 9 more bombs than anybody in the league. And it's also the 6th best mark in the home run per game total this season for the Saints. Elias Stevens has led the way in that category for Maryville with 16 bombs, tied for 3rd most in Division II. He's hit 55 in his career, and he's really getting going. That's the 2nd most against active leaders in Division II. And then Jacob Krager, he has 69 Ks. He's 4-0 with a 3.47 ERA. And the Maryville Saints ace will try to set the tone in Game 1 of that series. However, for Rockhurst, big story here for the Hawks is Michael Lawando, who was the GLVC Freshman of the Year a couple years ago, transferred to SEMO. Now he's back, and he's been impressive in 2024 as he's 2nd on the team, hitting 394. He's got an OPS above 1,000 with 11 doubles, and he's also 5-2 on the mound with a 5.40 ERA in 5 complete games. So in his 2nd season with Rockhurst, 3rd overall of college baseball, he already has 14 complete games in just 20 starts. He pitches that 7-inning game, so you'll see him not match up against Krager if history repeats itself, but that's impressive what he's been able to do. Jake Cannett's been a big weapon for Rockhurst, being 8-1 with 4 saves out of the bullpen. And then this offense, it's a lot of Adonis Forte talk, hitting above 400 again this year, walking more than he's striking out, 20-25 on stolen bases. They're led by Gary Burns, who's in his 31st season, and he's got the 17th most wins among D2 coaches, while Pat Evers, the head coach for Maryville, he'll look to get his 150th career win this weekend. He is just 3 wins shy of that. If they can pick up another GLVC series, they'll do that. And Maryville is a team that has won 11 of the past 12 meetings against Rockhurst. So a good battle atop the GLVC for our first series to watch.
Yeah, you covered it at such a high level, Will, and the the interesting story about Lodano, just going from Rockhurst being the freshman of the year, and then he's like, you know what, I'm going to transfer to Division One level, SEMO. Didn't work out for him. Now he's back at Rockhurst, still performing at a high level. We know what Maryville's been about. We
Yeah.
know what's with Elias Stevens as well. He's picked it back up. Obviously, tied for third in the country and with 16 home runs. Was able to see him live a couple weeks back, and he was able to hit a home run in that game. He was starting to turn the tide there. So, we'll see if how Maryville performs, and obviously Rockers, because we know that Maryville's going to have high expectations, but there really ain't much expectations on Rockers, and we'll see how they perform there, and we'll see maybe they could, make some noise there in the GLVC and the Midwest region, but
Mm-hmm.
we're going to transition on and talking about making noise. We're going to talk about the PSAC, and we're going to go specifically to probably one of the best series, if not the best series of the year, and that's East Stroudsburg, ranked number 10 in our poll, against Millersville, ranked number 3 in our poll. Two top 10 teams, two teams with just insanely good records, too. Millersville at 29-5, East Stroudsburg at 28-4. Stroudsburg, they recently dropped that 25-game win streak with a midweek loss in a 15-inning game to pace 9-7. But they are 16-0 in PSAC play. Millersville's 15-1 in PSAC play, and well, your typical PSAC double headers where it's 2 games Friday, 2 games Saturday, or 2 games one day, 2 games another day. We got Friday at Cooper Park, home of Millersville. We got 1 p.m. Eastern, 3:30 p.m. Eastern, 2 sevens. We're excited for that. So follow along there. Saturday, it goes over to East Stroudsburg, and that's also at 1 p.m. Eastern, 3:30 p.m. Eastern. All the games available on the PSAC network, which is available on Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Roku. So if you have any of those, go to the channel store, download it. You can watch it, all 4 games. Absolutely nothing to pay for there. But as we go into kind of players' numbers to watch, well, Millersville, they're top 25 in Division II on all sides of the ball in some kind of category. They're 15th in the country in batting average at 334. They're third in the country in both Ks, strikeouts per 9 innings at 11, and a 3.31 ERA. They're 11th in the country at WHIP at 1.29, and with a 975 fielding percentage, they're 16th in Division II. And I mean, they also are 6th in Division II with 119 stolen bases. Jeff Sabater, that's the guy who you should be really watching from Millersville. He leads the PSAC with 48 hits. He also leads Division II with 40 stolen bases. Yes, 40 in just 34 games. And he's 1 away from the school record. And, well, he's hitting 421 in 131 plate appearances. Another guy to look out for on offense from Millersville is Mark McNelly, 411, 518, 678 is his slash line. He has 4 home runs, 33 RBI, and 17 stolen bases. And another guy to look out, or excuse me, the trio to look out for the Millersville rotation. Again, there's a big reason why they're 11th in the country in ERA, and that's Connor Cook, Alex Mycutt, Carson Kalina. As Will, you mentioned this in our recap. They're 21-0 as those 3 combined, all with sub 240 ERAs and sub 119 WHIPs. As Cook is 6-0 with a 2.27 ERA and a .93 WHIP in 35 2/3 innings. Mycutt's 8-0 with a .97 ERA and a .83 WHIP in 55 2/3 innings. Mycutt is in the top 10, or excuse me, the top 5 in the country in ERA. Kalina 7-0 with a 2.40 ERA and a 1.19 WHIP in 48 2/3 innings. That will bring a little bit about Marysville, but then now we go to East Stroudsburg again. They did recently snap that 25-game win streak, so just absolutely impressive there. But they also have a Division II best 7 shutouts as a staff. And, well, that staff is led by Brent Francisco, who, if you saw our post earlier this week, with just the amount of absolutely goodness you have with that on DIVII, he has tossed 12 straight scoreless innings, and he's 7-0 in 8 starts with a 1.88 ERA, and opponents are hitting 155 off him with a .60 WHIP, and that's first in the country. Some other ranks for Francisco is he's second in Division II with a 4.69 hits allowed per 9, third in strikeout to walk ratio at 12.75, fourth in the country at fewest walks per 9 at .75, He's 10th in Division II with 7 wins. He's also 14th with that ERA at 1.88. And so that is the big leader for Stroudsburg on the pitching staff. But then we go to the bullpen. You got Caden Parker. He's 7th in the country with 7 saves. He has a 3.38 ERA in 13 1/3 innings. Then on offense, we have Shanley Wall, who leads the PSAC with 12 doubles. He's hitting 394 in 130 plate appearances. Parker Fry, no relation, unfortunately. He's hitting 387, 487 OBP, 635 slugging. He has 4 home runs and 26 RBI and 119 plate appearances. And so this will be a matchup for the ages. Again, 2 really good teams, 2 teams with 5 or fewer losses. And we'll see if one of those 2 teams ends up getting to 7 or even 8 losses, if it's a one-sided series or if it's an even series. As you know, Stroudsburg is another team that they did lose their first time at home on Wednesday, but they're still a really good team at home. So is Millersville. So we'll see how that series plays out.
Yeah, this is, the series of the year. When you look at this matchup, a top 10 battle, I really cannot wait because you look at what ESU has done, being 16-0 within league play. I mean, this is a critical PSAC East series. It's a critical regional implications on this series. And again, just a second, what you said. I mean, if you want to see a pitching matchup that is going to be akin to Division I level talent, just tune in to Game 1 and Brent Francisco against Alex Mycutt. Perhaps the best pitching matchup that we're going to see all season, unless these teams maybe meet again. But Alex Mycutt versus Brent Francisco, neither guy who's lost a game. One leads the nation in ERA, or right up there. One leads the nation in WHIP. Man, that is going to be one for the ages, like you said, with these 2 teams right at the top of the PSAC. I cannot wait for this series. A lot of critical battles, but that PSAC East series is definitely one to watch. Our next series is going to transition into the Central region, and it will be a Great American Conference battle. A very critical battle with 2 teams in first place. You've got Northwestern Oklahoma State and Arkansas-Monticello, both at 16-8. They're within a 3-way tie for first place right now. Inside the GAC, the other team is Arkansas Tech, who's also 16-8 in the league. However, in Alva, Oklahoma, you will have NWOSU hosting Arkansas-Monticello this weekend, as those 2 are 2 of 3 teams tied for first, set to go at it right now. So major implications this weekend in the league standings. NWOSU is 19-4 at home this season. They've won back-to-back GAC series, including a sweep against East Central last week when they outscored them 35-4. So within this 3-game set, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at Glass Family Field at Myers Stadium, it should be a lot of fun for what we could potentially see, because Monticello is also a team. They're coming off a sweep over Henderson State. So both teams riding a lot of momentum into this critical series as well. NWOSU second in the conference, hit with 58 bombs. Opponents are just hitting 238, though, off Monticello's arms this year. They've been pretty good. They lead the league in hits allowed per 9 as a staff and strikeouts per 9, while NWOSU's second in the league, hitting 300 as a team. For Monticello, Charles Peacock's made some waves with all the strikeouts. He's got 64 and 39 2/3. 3-3 record, ERAs north of 5. He's second in the nation in Ks per 9. He's coming off a start where he did go 4 shutout against Henderson State. Biggest thing for him has been the walks. So if he can be in the zone, he's very tough to hit. Camden Tanner as well, hitting 403 this year for Monticello with an OPS above 1100 and a team best 12 doubles. And then Connor Irvine, he's been a bulldog for him, picking up 6 wins. He's 6-1 through 10 starts with a 3.47 ERA. For NWOSU, it's Carson Wright. He's hitting 390 with 11 home runs. He's driven in 37 through 38 games. And then Jacob Wiltshire also leads the league and is third in the nation with 10 sacrifice bunts. And that's just something to note. because in a series like this, that's going to be so competitive in a critical 3 game set, a lot of the little things might be something that you look forward to seeing. So you can watch this game at NWOSU Rangers on YouTube. And also, when you look at what happened last year, Monticello swept NWOSU, but the last time they traveled to NWOSU, they got the sweep. So back-to-back sweeps with the home teams winning those last 2 occasions, and it should be a good one within the GAC as 2 teams tied for first place go at it here this weekend.
Yeah, and that absolutely huge to be able to see that again. Like you mentioned in the preview as well, Southern Arkansas in the GAC was either first place or in the top two since 2017, and that's just absolutely impressive. Now we have 3 teams tied for first place in the GAC, and none of them are Southern Arkansas. So really speaks to this talent level of this conference. Seeing Arkansas-Monticello, NWOSU, Arkansas Tech, who 2 of those 3 teams are receiving votes, and we'll see how Arkansas and Monticello performs. Again, NWOSU is really good at home too, so very, very interesting to see how that plays out. And again, you can watch it on YouTube. How amazing is that? You can just go on YouTube, watch the game. So it makes it very accessible to watch that. But we're going to transition on now, and we're going to go to, well, one of the best conferences in Division II baseball, and that's the Conference Carolinas. We're going to talk about a number 9 Mount Olive team, winners of 15 in a row, against a number 15 Barton team, who's 29-9 and 21-3 at home this season. And well, it's very interesting to see that. Well, Barton career-wise is 11-38 against Mount Olive in the series history, and especially they're 3-17 at home against Mount Olive within the history. So very interesting to see how that plays out. Again, Barton, this is a really good team here that kind of changes the tide up. So like I said, they're 21-3 at home. They also sport the 28th best batting average in the country at 325, the 8th best on base percentage in the country at 449. They have a top 10 ERA at 3.68. They have a top 8 whip at 1.29. And, well, we got to talk about Jared Beebe. He's hitting 340 with an OBP of 472 with 2 home runs and 29 RBI. Well, what makes Jared Beebe so interesting with that OBP is he's only struck out 7 times in 182 plate appearances, which makes him the toughest to strike out in the Conference Carolinas. And, you know, when you pair him with a guy like Chase Waddell, who's hitting 346 with a 428 OBP, a guy who hits a lot of doubles, second in the conference with 13 doubles. Another guy who's really turned it on as of late, didn't get to play that much at the beginning of the year, but now is in that lineup entrenched. It's Matthew Rivera, 359, 519, and 679 slugging in 108 plate appearances, as he has a team-leading 7 home runs, even though he's had roughly 60 to 80 less of plate appearances than the regular everyday starters. And the last guy we'd like to talk about offensively, and then we'll transition to him pitching, is Tanner Halverson. He's hitting 323, OPP of 467, slugging 531, nearly 1,000 OPS. He has a team-leading 36 RBI. He's 4th in the Conference Carolinas with 12 doubles. And, well, he's been doing it on both sides of the ball this season. He's 2nd in the conference with 2 complete games. He's 7-2 with a 4.42 ERA and 57 innings. He's also 9th in the country with 69 strikeouts. A guy who can get it done on both sides of the ball. And, well, that's going to be a tall order against this Mount Olive offense. But another guy we'd like to highlight for Barton before we transition to Mount Olive is Matt Rivers. He's 4-2 with a 2.01 ERA and a 1.18 whip in 49 and a third innings, as that ERA is 19th best in Division II. Now he's gotten more starts there in that rotation. Didn't really start the season in the rotation, but now here he is in the rotation. And now we'll transition over to Mount Olive. Again, they have a 15-game win streak going on, and they're the best in the Conference Carolinas there at 29-8. They're 17-3 in conference play. And again, forgot to mention the dates of this. So it'll be a Saturday doubleheader at 12 and 3 p.m. Eastern with a Sunday game at 1 p.m. Eastern. Conference Carolinas Digital Network.com/Barton, or you can go to the Conference Carolinas Digital Network channel again on the Roku, Fire TV, or Apple TV to be able to watch that for free. But speaking of Mount Olive, you know, the reason why they're being so successful is they have the 9th best Division II fielding percentage at 976. And, well, when we talk to Rob Watts in our magazine, he mentioned that he essentially has 3 center fielders out there in the outfield, and they've covered a lot of ground for that Mount Olive defense, and that helps that pitching staff. And which in that pitching staff, Ethan Mbimbo, he threw a no-hitter earlier this season. He's 8th in the country in fewest hits allowed per 9 at 4.98. He's also 10th with a .9 WHIP, as he's 6-0 with a 4.57 ERA and a .15 or a 155 batting average against in a 43 1/3 innings. Eric Johnson, he's 3rd in the country with 4 complete games. He has the 5th best ERA in the conference at 2.79. He also has the 16th best strike or KBB ratio at 6.89. He's also 21st in the country with 62 strikeouts, 20th in WHIP at .97. So he is 5-1 in 52 1/3 innings with all of those metrics. As those are 2 really good starters there for Mount Olive to face against this Barton lineup, a team that gets on base a lot. And having that low WHIP for those 2 guys is really crucial to see if Mount Olive can go on the road and beat a really good Barton team at home. Offensively, Vito Paterno is the guy to highlight for the Trojans. He's 19th in runs in the country with 49. He's hitting .401, .497 OBP, .613 slugging. He has 13 doubles, again, 2nd in the conference, and 24 RBI and 165 PA. And again, a team that has a .430 team OBP. We like to highlight guys who have a high OBP. Mike Kenny has a .493 OBP in 148 plate appearances. He's hitting .324 in 148, like I said. And Aiden Cottle has a .478 OBP in 162 plate appearances. Dylan Jeffries, or Bubba Jeffries, is his nickname. .452 OBP and 168 PA. So this 3-game set can be crucial because, again, in the Southeast region, who knows, maybe a team like Barton, if Barton struggles, who knows if they might get themselves pushed out of the region rankings. I mean, they're going to be pretty set in there, but there'll be that threat of, hey, if a team that takes a bid away with winning the conference tournament, they could be on the outside looking in the postseason.
Yeah, especially because when you look at 3 conferences and how things have changed, it used to be the Peach Belt. That was the dominant conference within this league. And then when we heard that from Coach Gant himself, who's been around this region, so to speak, over at Catawba for some time. You look at Catawba, okay, if they don't win the SAC, does that become a 1-bid league, or is there a bid taken away? Because right now, ideally for Carolinas and just realistically, 5 teams should get in, right? But if bids are taken away with the automatic qualifiers winning the conference tournament, you never know. And you could have a team that we've had within our top 25 all year long, pretty much have had 5 ranked Carolinas teams all year. One of them might miss it, perhaps. So these series like this heighten the importance of not just the standings, but for these 2 teams with regional hopes, certainly implications within their own region as well. And I know, Robert, as we continue to talk about series, we're going to talk about more regional implications as we go back to the Atlantic region in the Mountain East Conference, and we'll talk about a matchup that is really interesting. 2 teams atop the MEC North Division in a 4-game set upcoming this weekend, with Frostburg traveling to Wheeling. Frostburg at 21-8 and 14-2 in Mountain East Conference play, while Wheeling's 18-13 and 8-8 in MEC play. However, atop the North Division is these 2 teams, and while Frostburg does have a 6-game lead on the division, it's critical for them with regional implications, because a sweep for Frostburg would certainly help their regional status, while Wheeling, they could make the conference race very interesting if they play well at home here this weekend. And with 7 bids in the Atlantic region, and Charleston feeling like the team that you could perhaps consider as a lock, I wouldn't even go that far just yet within this league, especially considering how dominant the PSAC has been at the top. You got Charleston, you've got Frostburg. Those 2 teams have to play extremely well if they want to get into the Atlantic Regional. However, for Frostburg, they have set themselves up nicely at 14-2, and they could really extend themselves atop this division if they can beat the team that's second right now already with a 6-game lead headed into a 4-game set. Frostburg's offense hitting 310, second best in the league. Pitching staff's ERA's at 4.30. That's second best in the league. And for that pitching staff, they'll go up against a guy like Braden Killens, who's hitting 342 with 8 bombs and 7 doubles with a team best 34 RBI for Wheeling. While for Frostburg, it's been Ethan Kipple who is just pacing this offense, hitting 385, 10 doubles, 8 home runs. Patrick Bauer is a guy who's been inserted into the rotation, and he's thrown the ball well as of late with a 1.88 ERA. He's 4-1 with 31 Ks through 28 2/3. A big 6'8 righty who has allowed 3 earned runs over his last 4 outings, which has spanned 19 2/3 innings. Their offense has 6 players with 5 or more doubles, good gap-to-gap power. They get on base about 42% of the time as well as a team. And Ryan Boma hitting 341, getting on base 49% of the time. He has 23 walks on the season to just 17 Ks. So it should be a good matchup. You got a guy like Kipple who's been there and done that. 732 career slugging percentage, which is 5th best amongst active Division II players. And for 2 games on Saturday and 2 games on Sunday in Wheeling, West Virginia, could the home team in Wheeling make this more interesting? Or could Frostburg pretty much lock up this MEC North Division title? It should be a good one and another series to watch.
Hey, it is a great series to watch, and being in that MEC, so that Atlantic region of just 2 teams, or 2 conferences, of the PSAC and the MEC, a lot of the attention is focused on the PSAC, but we have to give attention to that MEC and see, which teams go in there. You mentioned Frostburg, Wheeling, big regional implications too. Charleston in there. There's a chance it could very well be a 1-bid league there as well, with the amount of talent that's currently in the PSAC. But very interesting to see how that plays out. And this is definitely a series to watch because, like you said, huge regional implications there. So, speaking of huge regional implications, we're going back to that Southeast region, and we're going to do a 3-game set in the Peach Belt Conference, one that has the top 2 teams squaring off against each other as Lander, who's entered in our rankings at 24. They're 28-11. They've won 7 in a row, with 13-5 in conference play. Georgia College, they're 24-13, 14-4. They lead the Peach Belt right now. It's in Georgia College at Millersville, Georgia. There's a 2 days, 3-game set. So Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern and Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern and 4 p.m. Eastern. So be able to watch it on the Peach Belt Sports Network. And again, go on Apple TV, Fire TV, Roku. You can be able to download that channel and watch it for free on there. But we got to talk about first Lander. They've, again, that 7-game win streak, and a lot of it is, they're doing the small stuff right. They're 10th in the country in fielding percentage at .976. They're 24th with 82 stolen bases. They have 222 team walks, which is 8th in the country. And they have a .415 OBP, which that puts them 3rd in the Peach Belt. But we got to talk about, obviously, Connor Drosy. He's 2nd in the country now with 17 home runs. He broke the school record yesterday in their win, 16-10. And he is slugging .813, which is 1st in the Peach Belt, and 176 plate appearances. Another guy you want to talk about in terms of stolen bases, Gary Garrett. He's 11th in the country with 23 stolen bases. He's hitting .358 and 165 PAs. Ethan Wilder, a guy who's been really tearing the cover off the ball lately. He's hitting .397. He has just 13 strikeouts in 188 plate appearances. So another guy on that list that's tough to strike out is he leads the Peach Belt amongst qualified hitters in toughest to strike out. Jake, and then when you flip over to the pitching side, Jake Larson, he's 6-1 with a .479 ERA and 44 2/3 innings. Tyler Overholt, he's 1st in that Peach Belt with 6 saves. He has a .270 ERA and 23 1/3 innings, and that .976 fielding percentage. Well, it's mostly that double play tandem, as they've turned the 6th most double plays in the country with 32. So they get the ball on the ground at a high level, and they turn double plays at a high level. And on the flip side, for Georgia College, they have a 4-game win streak right now. guys you want to talk about offensively, Brandon Bellflower, he's 6th in the country with 16 doubles, 12th in hits with 52. He's 3rd in the Peach Belt, hitting .399 in 177 plate appearances. Matthew McBain, he's top 10 in the country in home runs with 14, and he's also top 10 with 109 total bases. He's slugging .712 in 178 plate appearances. Braden Smith, a guy who gets on base a lot, well, he's the best in the Peach Belt getting on base. 518 OBP in 166 plate appearances. So that's a little bit offensively for Georgia College and State. John Luke Lanton on the mound, he's 6-3 with a 2.94 ERA and 64 and a third innings. Lex Kenny, the guy who's behind Overholt in saves in the Peach Belt, he has 4 saves and he has a 3.57 ERA and 35 and a third innings. And that will be an exciting series to watch again because regional implications there too is this Peach Belt Conference could very well be a one-bid league with the amount of talent that's in the South Atlantic Conference and the Conference Carolinas. So whoever gets that first place regular season title is setting themselves up in a good position to possibly be that one-bid team in that one-bid league. But again, a lot of season left to play. We'll see how it plays out.
Right. And even if you win this league, I mean, it would be hard to omit the regular season winner in the Peach Belt, but that's kind of the line of thinking you're going on, right? This could all be for naught if you don't win the conference tournament. However, this is a massive series, like you said, for Lander, who really feels like they're positioning themselves to be a part of that conversation. We certainly have taken note of what they've done, putting them inside our top 25 this past week. Going to another region in the South Central region, we'll go to the RMAC and look at a series right here that I find quite interesting. Now, the South Central region, it's the RMAC, it's the Lone Star Conference, and this region produced the national champion with Angelo last year. However, this series in Denver, Colorado at Regis Baseball Field, Regis is going to be hosting Colorado School of Mines. And what is really just a critical RMAC series, both of these teams on the outside looking in when you talk about regional right now. However, for Colorado School of Mines, they sit at 3rd in the league. Regis is 5th. However, Regis has put together a very strong resume this season, Robert. They have 10 wins against teams above 500 this year. That's tied for second most across the entire region, while Mines has a chance to jump in the conference standings this weekend, already being at 3rd. However, you've got Adams State, who is 2nd, playing MSU Denver, who is tied with Mines for 3rd in another RMAC battle. However, we focus on this one with Mines and Regis, and it shows that, okay, Mesa, a team that's stepping outside of conference play, which feels like the one lock right now for a regional if we had to decide today, they're going to remain in first place no matter what within the standings, being outside of conference play this weekend and having enough of a cushion that nobody's going to catch them at least this weekend. However, the thing that piques my interest for Regis, interestingly enough, they've got the top RPI currently in this conference. That's per Inkblot where I found that, Robert. And within the South Central region, having the top RPI, if they make a statement this weekend, it feels like they'll be a hard team to ignore, continuing to play well against teams that are above 500. And for two teams in the standings coming up for them, they've got a series against Highlands. They've got a series against UCCS, two teams toward the bottom of the standings that they have coming up out of their next 3 to finish off the season. Regis could really find themselves in an advantageous spot if they have a great weekend. And then obviously the same thing with Mines, a team that could potentially jump up the standings after last week. They split with Adams State. Regis just split with UCCS. So two teams coming off splits, looking to see if they can't push themselves forward with a series win this weekend. For Regis, Adam Paniagua is going off right now, looking like an All-American, 2nd in the nation and slugging 5th in the country in RBIs per game. He's hitting .433 with 15 bombs and 8 doubles. Through 34 games with a 1,400-plus OPS, he's driven in 54 runs as well in 34 games. An offense that can explode. They score about 9 runs a game. And out of the bullpen, Ethan Sloan, 7 saves and 12 appearances. And he's 2-1 with a 2.45 ERA. On the other side for Mines, they're a team that can hit as many teams in the RMAC can. Mason Andrews leading the way with 11 homers and hitting 383. And this team has 3 players, not including Andrews, who has 10 or more doubles, with Jackson Woolwine leading the way with 15. They've got 82 doubles in 34 games. They're hitting 317 as a team. So they're a group that can get the job done. This all-time series is very, very tight. Regis holds the all-time advantage 36-34, which provides further intrigue for this RMAC battle. And they've won, Regis has, 6 consecutive games against Mines, including an 8-7 come-from-behind walk-off win in the opening round of the RMAC tournament. That was a 4-versus-5 battle last year. So that's some intrigue based off the all-time series history, what happened in the postseason last year, and what could potentially set one of these teams up to have success down the stretch in RMAC play coming up this season. So that's what we have out of the South Central region, at least for now. We'll have some more coming up later in that series to watch out of the RMAC.
Yeah, and you covered it well. I mean, Regis having that RPI where they're at, with their record at 18, 15, and 1 right now, may not be the most attractive record, but when you look within their region, they do have the best RPI in their region, which gives them a telling sign. Hey, you should be talking about us more. And so it'll be very interesting to see how they play this weekend, 1, and then 2, how does it reflect in the standings for regional rankings. But now we're going to transition on, and we're going to go over to the CCAA, the West region, and we're going to talk about 2 teams that are either first or third in their conference standings, and that's Cal State San Marcos against Cal Poly Pomona. And as Cal State San Marcos is 19-13, 18-9, they lead the CCAA, and Cal Poly Pomona is 19-14, and they're 15-9, which is third in the CCAA, and this will be played at home at Scolinos Field in Pomona, California. You got a Friday single game at 6 p.m. Pacific time, Saturday doubleheader at 2 p.m. and 5:30 p.m. Pacific time, and then a Sunday single game at noon Pacific time. You can see it on the CCAA network. That is a paid service, so you do have to pay to watch it. And you can get that CCAA network, but you still have to pay a channel on Roku, Fire TV, Apple TV as well. And talk a little bit about the Cal State San Marcos team. We obviously know the story. We covered it in our latest issue of the magazine with Jillian Albayati, who played in both a baseball and pitched in baseball and played in a softball game on the same day. But that's an interesting story. But a lot of it with how San Marcos has been succeeding has been their offense. Garrett Tennyson, he leads the CCAA at hitting at .411 and 147 plate appearances. Also has the most stolen bases with 14. Another guy, Phoenix Samay, at the top of the order, as Tennyson is the 2-hole hitter. Samay is the leadoff hitter. He has the CCAA best .503 OBP and 153 plate appearances. Luke Reese, he's hitting in the 340s. He's second in the CCAA with 39 RBI, and he has 8 home runs and 146 plate appearances, as this San Marcos team is hitting 324 as a team. They have the highest OBP in the CCAA at 431. They're 19th in the country in slugging at 519. On the pitching side, you have Preston Kelly. He leads the conference with 5 saves and 23 in the third innings with a 1.54 ERA. He's 4-0 out of the bullpen as well. Roman Connolly in that rotation, he's 4-1 with a 3.13 ERA and 37 in the third innings, as they have a team ERA 6.76 and a team fielding percentage of 963. On the flip side, for Cal Poly Pomona, they have a top 25 defense in the country, 973 fielding percentage, as that puts them exactly at 25. They're just outside of the top 25 and fewest walks allowed per nine at 3.69 on that pitching side. They're third in the CCAA with a 5.27 ERA. They're second in WHIP at 1.48. As Noel Soto, he's thrown back-to-back complete games. He's 5-2 with a 4.75 ERA and 47 in the third innings. Caleb Reyes, he's 4-0 with the CCAA third best ERA at 2.38 and the third best WHIP at 1.03 in 34 innings. Chris Fields, he has the second most saves with 4. He has a 2.45 ERA and 14 and 2/3 ERA. Offensively, Johnny Pappas, has the third best OBP at 483 and 152 plate appearances in the CCAA. And Jack Sanders, he leads the team with a 614 slugging percentage and 134 plate appearances. And so, again, regional implications here. That West region, the CCAA, it really is whoever the top two teams there, because when you look at the West region, you got the GNAC with Northwest Nazarene. They're looking like, pretty good spot there for only 6 teams. But then the Pac West, you have Point Loma. Westmont's playing really well, but they transition, so they're not allowed to play in the postseason. So it's looking like the top 2 teams in the CCAA will look to get one of those bids as well. So if Pomona plays well, they could jump into those top 2 spots. If San Marcos plays well, they'll solidify that 1 spot.
Yeah, that's a very, very intriguing series as well when you look out west with what's going on, because there's a lot of really competitive teams, some powers that maybe are a little bit down this year, opportunities for other teams to make some noise, and I'm really looking forward to that series to watch upcoming this weekend. I'm going to stay in the South Central region, but transition over to the Lone Star Conference and talk about another matchup that has massive regional implications, because within the Lone Star right now, the clear-cut top 3 is West Texas A&M, Lubbock, and Angelo. But the next 2 teams are 2 teams battling each other here this weekend as UT Permian Basin travels to Tyler, Texas to take on UT Tyler. UT Tyler's 24-16, while UTPB is 20-16. Tyler in 4th place, and a surging UTPB team that has won 9 games in a row. They sit at 5th place in the league. They've won back-to-back series. UT Tyler has as well. Both of these teams are hot. UTPB is also well rested as well. They have not played a Lone Star Conference series in a couple weeks. They were off last weekend outside of conference play. And when you look at Permian Basin's group with 9 in a row, knowing that they could jump up to 4th in the standings, you really have to be intrigued about what UTPB could do. However, it's going to be a tough test on the road. They come off a couple of midweek games against future Lone Star member Sul Ross State when they scored 54 runs in 2 games against them and just demolished them. But again, they're well rested. They're ready to go, while UT Tyler and Permian Basin have each won back-to-back Lone Star series. It'll be in Tyler, Texas at Irwin Field Friday, Saturday, Sunday for the 4-game set. And for UT Tyler, Lane Hutchinson's been a monster this season, hitting .380 with 16 doubles, 8 home runs. And then also Nathan Carrieri's also surged as of late, a 20-game hit streak for him. He's hitting .425 on the year through 24 starts. And on the season, he's got 4 home runs, 2 triples, 4 homers, and then Raleigh Hector's gone 6+ in 5 of his last 6 starts with a 3.71 ERA through 10 starts. And 7 different Patriots have combined for a total of 11 saves this season. They've got a versatile back end of the bullpen. Ethan Bedgood leads the team with 43 driven in, hitting .395. And UT Tyler has turned a league best 33 double plays. So they sit at 4th in the league, Permian Basin 5th in the league, and a big matchup with one of those teams wanting to get into that regional conversation. Permian Basin's been strong, exploding this season at times. They're 11-0 when they score double-digit runs this season. Ethan Floodstrums leads the team, hitting .400, OPS above 1,100 with a 7-game hit streak, including 6 multi-hit games. During that stretch, 11 RBIs in his last 3 games. Mason Hamlin's been a stud, hitting .382. He scored a team-high 55 runs and has 15 doubles. And Austin Hall leads the team, driving in 45 runs. This will be on pay-per-views, Lone Star Conference's digital network to watch this one. UT Tyler on the road last year did take 3 of 4 in Odessa, Texas, when these 2 teams met a season ago. But 4 versus 5 in the Lone Star should be a lot of fun, and another big matchup within this conference standings, but also bigger picture-wise in the South Central region.
Absolutely, Will. When you talk about the teams that are doing really well in the Lone Star specifically, you got West Texas A&M, you got Lubbock Christian, you got Angelo State, the defending national champions, all within our top 25. But it's that next team in because again, it's only two regions. So you got the RMAC. Looks like Colorado Mesa's probably going to be alive, but then you have two more spots after those four teams. So fighting for that two spots, that fourth best team in the Lone Star can make a very good case to say, hey, we should be in. And 4 versus 5 is a really big implication there. And so we transition on now, and we'll go into the East region, and this will be a big East region matchup between a Goldey-Beacom team and Felician. This will just be a Sunday doubleheader. The CACC likes to move teams around and play different teams, as Felician will play Dominican on Friday, and then Goldey-Beacom will play also on Saturday, as they will have different opponents. They'll play Holy Family. So as of right now, as of this recording, Goldey-Beacom has won 7 straight. Felician has won 2 in a row, as that will be at Doyle Field, home of Goldey-Beacom. You have a Sunday doubleheader on April 14th, 12 p.m. Eastern and 3:30 p.m. Eastern. And we'll talk a little bit first about Felician, as they're 10th in the country in Ks per 9 at a 9.9 figure, and that's really with Mike Halden, who's first in the conference with a 11.48 Ks per 9. He also has 14th in the country with 68 strikeouts. He's second in the conference with strikeout to walk ratio at 4.25. He's 3-3 with a 4.05 ERA and 53 in the third innings. Jordan Savanon is 3-0 with a 4.41 ERA and 32 in the third innings. Offensively, Thomas Kendrick, he's hitting 356, 449, 492 is his slash line with a home run, 23 RBI, and 160 PAs. He leads the CACC in hits at 47 and triples of 4. Hayden Walters, he leads the CACC in doubles with 11. He's hitting 323 with an OBP of 445. He has a homer and 30 RBI in 158 plate appearances. As we flip over to Goldey-Beacom, they're top 3 in the conference in most categories. Specifically, they have the most doubles with 65. They have the lowest whip at 1.44. They have the fewest walks per 9 at 3.77. They're also 11th in the country with 4 shutouts on that pitching staff. You have Nate Miller, who's 5-1 with a 2.04 ERA and 35 in the third innings. The freshman Justin Jump, the senior, 5-2 with a 4.36 ERA in 43 in the third innings. He has the fewest hits allowed per 9 in the conference at 6.85. Both of those guys lead the CACC with 5 wins. But then we got to talk offensively. First, you got to talk about Garrett Musey, as he's hitting 376, 513, 800 with 8 home runs and 27 RBI and 113 plate appearances. They're 1-2 with his partner Braden Coleman'sberger in slugging percentages. He has a 781 slugging percentage. He's hitting 395, and thanks to their athletic director, Jeremy Benoit, for Goldey-Beacom, he mentioned that since March 7th, Coleman'sberger is hitting 554, 649 in conference play with 10 home runs. So thank you, Jeremy, for that interesting bit of information over the last month for Coleman'sberger. He's first in the CACC with 67 total bases. And we'll see a lot of offense there, as, again, Goldey-Beacom right now in the regional ranking, second in the CACC. Felician on the outside looking in. Felician could make a statement, as they made a statement early on in the season. They're one of the 4 teams as of right now to beat East Stroudsburg this season. They opened up with beating East Stroudsburg 16-10. So very interesting to see how this plays out for the CACC.
Yeah, me too. I mean, this one again, it has major conference implications, and really just, I mean, like you said, Felician's shown the ability to beat good teams, and Goldey-Beacom's been a good team. 2 teams that have won 20 plus ball games. I mean, what else could you ask for? Another just fantastic battle. And we're gonna transition out west once more, Robert. The final series that I have to break down is in the GNAC. You've got Western Oregon and Central Washington, a 4-game series on Saturday and Sunday in Ellensburg, Washington at CWU baseball field. Now, Northwest Nazarene leads the conference at 13-7. However, Western Oregon 12-8, right behind them. Central Washington 11-9. So Western Oregon, Central Washington at second and third right now. A critical GNAC battle, as it seems like those will be the three teams within the three-team conference tournament within this 5-team league. However, we will see what will happen. Major seeding implications certainly on the line this weekend. WUU Western Oregon just took 3 of 4 against nationally ranked Northwest Nazarene. They'll try to continue momentum on the road this weekend. Central Washington just split against St. Martin's, but also split against Western Oregon on the road earlier this season, as they will play a total of 8 times in the regular season. For Central Washington, when you look at them, Ben Leeds leading the team at hitting .417, 28 RBI, 7 double, OPS above 1,000. We had the story in our issue last week with Jonathan Garza II tossing a no-hitter. Nolan Milliam has also allowed just 1 run in his last 6 appearances out of the pen. He's 5-2 with a save on the year in 10 appearances on the season out of the pen. He's got a sub-2 ERA, while Western Oregon, a team that they've done a lot of good things. Randy Stoltz has hit safely in 9 of 10 games. He's hitting .362 in 14 starts. John Olison's hitting .315, leads the team with 38 hits. But the pitching on this team has been excellent. Dylan Chalmers leading the way with a .296 ERA. The rotation's been pretty consistent, as all 4 guys have gone all 8 weekends for them. And so it'd be interested to see how they can potentially slow down a Central Washington offense coming up here this weekend. It should be a lot of fun for this Central Washington team. Everything ahead of them. They've got 4 with Western Oregon and 4 more to finish the year against Northwest Nazarene. So if they play well, they can find themselves atop this conference when all's said and done at the end of the regular season.
Absolutely will. And, when we want to talk about that West region again, who knows? Who really knows what's going to happen? We could have equal numbers of 2-bid leagues with the 3 conferences, but a lot to prove there for both teams. Western Oregon, again, picked to be the preseason favorite in the GNAC. They still have a ways to go, but Central Washington, they can also play well. And really, as long as you get into the conference tournament, you have a chance. Both of these teams are in the top 3, and we'll see how that plays out there. But we'll also see how it plays out in the Gulf South Conference, as we have a team that's really feeling it right now in Delta State, and they're going to travel to Valdosta State. Delta State, they're second in the conference at 15-6. They've won 8 in a row. They're 24-14. Valdosta State's 20-13, 12-9 in the Gulf South Conference. Well, Valdosta State had a big midweek win, beating St. Leo 7-6. They're in the midweek at home, and now they take on a team that's won 8 in a row. So this road is not getting any easier, but at least they get to be at home and have some home cooking. It'll be at Billy Grant Field in Valdosta. Friday, 1 game at 5 p.m. Eastern, and a Saturday doubleheader at 1 p.m. Eastern and 4 p.m. Eastern. You can see it on BlazerSportsMedia.com, or, since we have radio too, Talk921.com as well. If you want to tune in on your radio, is Valdosta. They're a team that hits the ball really well. They're 18th in the country with a .332 batting average, 24th with a .436 on-base percentage in the country. And, well, that's led by Dennis Pierce. He has a .531 OBP, which is highest in the Gulf South. He's hitting .404 with 9 home runs and 49 RBI in 147 plate appearances. Hunter Stowe has a .598 slugging percentage in 130 plate appearances. Jacob Harper has a .514 on-base percentage in 109 plate appearances. Speaking of that Valdosta State bullpen, that's been their big success on the staff, is that bullpen. Nick Ferrara, he's second in the GSC with 6 saves. He has a .75 ERA in 24 innings. Hunter Booth, he's 6-0 in 13 appearances. He started to make his way in a rotation. He has 4 starts. He has a .437 ERA in 35 innings. On the flip side with Delta, they're first in the conference at case per 9, 8.7. Third in the conference at whip at 1.59. As Logan Eldridge is that guy for Delta State. He's 25th in country with a .217 ERA and 49 2/3 innings. He's 3-3. Drake Fontenot, he has the most Ks in the Gulf South with 56, and he's 5-2 with a .482 ERA and 56 innings. Josh Hill, out of the bullpen, he's 4-0 with a .441 ERA. He's tied third in the conference with 5 saves. Offensively, Dylan Coleman, he's hitting .384 with a slugging percentage of .674 with 11 home runs and 40 RBI. And Brett Burrell has a .445 OBP and 173 plate appearances. Again, in this South region, you have the Sunshine State. You know the SIAC is going to be a one-bid league. You have 8
Yeah.
teams. So, really, any of these teams in the 1 through 5 area for the Gulf South, they have a chance. So, very interesting to see how that plays out and seeing which of these teams in the Gulf South will get into that South Regional.
Yeah, really looking forward to all of that. How about 12 series to watch for y'all and plenty more to follow on DIVII Baseball on X. You can follow everything. And also, if you want exclusive access to everything Division II baseball, yeah, you could support us by not only subscribing to our magazine, which would be a great idea, but when you do that, you support us, sure, but you also get great content. I mean, when I was playing Division II baseball, if I wanted a breakdown on every league, I would have paid for it in a heartbeat. And, it's worth every penny. Is you get 10 times as much content as you do on these free breakdowns and all the things that we do with DIVII. But it's all great stuff, Robert, and really looking forward to these 12 series we highlighted.
Absolutely, Will, and we're excited for it. We're excited for some other series that we'll mention real quick. We have a couple super regional matchups that are to be played, or super regional matchups from last year to be played. We have Monterey Bay against San Bernardino and Cal State, and we have Quincy and UIndy playing this weekend as well. In those super regional matchups, I mean, the records are not as big as maybe the make it a series to watch, but still something we should mention.
Yeah, definitely. A couple of rematches from last year's Super Regionals. It's wild that they're not really talking points right now because, I mean, the teams haven't performed like they did last year. However, still, Super Regional rematch is always something to watch.
So we'd like to thank you for taking the time out to listen to this series to watch preview. Enjoy the Division II baseball over the weekend, and yes, subscribe to the magazine for awesome content, and keep following DIVII baseball on Twitter/X and everything by going to our link tree in the bio as well to be able to check out all that great content there as well.